Okay, I think that I have it completely fixed. So you can jump into them. It'll launch you in the direction that it's facing, and the player will also face that way too. Well, let's see here. It doesn't appear to be doing that anymore, where it's launching the player directly up, but that was an issue before. But yeah, so if I go into the barrel, not the barrel, it's inspired by Donkey Kong's barrel, but that's not what it's gonna be. But let's see here, what's happening here. I did a lot, and I don't know how much of this is redundant and how much of it needs to go away, but basically if a player enters the barrel, first it's going to set the fire launcher, which is right here, to false. I had to make a bool check right here, but it's going to set that to false. The player is dashing going to be false, and being grounded is false, because you can't be on the ground if you're inside of something like that. And the dashing, it needs to be just stopped completely. I turned off the player's sprite renderer, so that way like you can't see him inside of it. Zeroed out the velocity and the gravity scale. I put the player, I put its well, I basically parented, yeah, there we go. I parented the player object to the launcher doohickey right here, so that way it stays inside of it, so that way it can move around and the player will still be inside of it. Which then I changed the temp launch timer to a launch timer, and then I parented. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what this part was for. Launcher object. I know it's somewhere in the player script. Where is it? I wrote all this code and I don't even know it anymore. Launcher object. I have it right here. I don't know what the point. Wait, am I actually? Might be able to just take that out. Let's see. Oh, no. Okay, that's yeah. Okay, I'll explain that too. So, yeah, basically a launch timer become the launch timer. I'll explain that too. That's in the player script as well. The player gets parented to the object, and then I had to use the local position to put the player at the center of the barrel, so that way it's right there instead of somewhere off on the side. And then I re-enabled saying the launcher is true, and then when the player leaves it, it's supposed to be, I'll look into that, but yeah, like if the player leaves it, the parent position it's not part of the blaster launcher anymore, and the sprite enabler gets, or the sprite renderer gets re-enabled. And yeah, so the vector 3 forward, it's supposed to be the launcher object, which when it hits the object, it becomes the new launcher object. So that's where this part comes into play, and whichever way that it's facing, it will basically shoot it in the direction of this little piece sticking out. That was like basically how I indicated which way it's supposed to come out. So let me go through it real quick. Let's see here. So you see how it's shooting it in this direction, but I can go into here. Say if I have this rotating, it will do that. And I forgot to zero out the player, or reset the player's like rotation, which that won't be too hard to figure out. But yeah, that's what that does. See, it shot me out like at the bottom left of the screen. But it also flips the player depending on which way the barrel is facing. So like if it's facing anywhere basically like here, it'll flip the player to he's facing right, and if it's anywhere like on this side over here, it will flip the player to the left. let's see. So then I had like a bool check for like if the player's in the launcher, which is right here. So in the launcher equals true, then outside the launcher will become, not outside the launcher, but it'll count down a timer, and then once the timer hits 0, like in the launcher is false, but like once it's, that's where this the fire launcher boolean check comes into play here. So like if the player is in the launcher and if you press E, it'll set the fire launcher true, and if the fire launcher is true, it'll minus the temp launch time, which I think I set it into here too. Let's see, yeah, right here the launch time and the temp launch time are equal to the same thing. And then I had to take, I don't know if I could use like rigid body velocity, but this works for now. It was a little funky due to the screen resolution, so yeah, but like basically the forward of it, which I just explained, whichever way the object is facing, it'll launch it in that direction, times a force, which is just, you know, a float that says like, hey, I want it to be multiplied by this much in time.delta time. And then like once it hits 0, or if the player is grounded, so if this just shoots directly down, it will it'll set both of the boolean checks to false, so that way the player, it won't like keep launching the player like for an infinite amount of time. So yeah, I got that worked out. Now I just need to fix the velocity or the rotation of it, because you see like the player is getting rotated with getting rotated with it, but just change that back for now. Alright, so something went a little wrong here, but so it works for the same position right now, but if I turn it over here, it'll flip the player out. So I gotta fix that part real quick. I somewhat just figured it out, but how that I got it to fix where the player doesn't run to the left when he's holding right, it'll just keep popping the player out facing the right, which isn't that big of a deal, but that's not what I want entirely. But I mean, it does work, so let me so go up there, and it lets me run the correct way. If I, that was the bug that was happening before. So let's, yeah, so that seems to be somewhat working. So I mean, it'll have to work for now. It's a couple more bugs, but I think it'll be fine.